as a feminine model.
Okay,
anyway,
okay, yeah. No, like what you said about, again, academy, Chomsky, and so on. Well, with all deep respect that I do have for Chomsky, my first point is that Chomsky, who always emphasizes how one has to be empirical, accurate, not just some crazy Lacanian speculations and so on. Well, I don't think I know a guy who was so often empirically wrong in his descriptions, in his whatever. Let's look. I remember when he defended this demonization of Khmer Rouge. And he wrote a couple of texts claiming, no, this is Western propaganda, Khmer Rouge are not as horrible as that. And when later he was compelled to admit that Khmer Rouge were not the nicest guys in this universe and so on, his defense was quite shocking for me. It was that, no, with the data that we had at that point, I was right. At that point, we didn't yet know enough, so, but I totally reject this line of reasoning. For example, concerning Stalinism, the point is not that you have to know, you have to photo evidence of Gulag or whatever. My God, you just have to listen to the public discourse of Stalinism, of Khmer Rouge, to get it, that something terrifyingly pathological is going on there. For example, Khmer Rouge, even if we have no data about their prisons and so on, isn't it, in a perverse way, almost fascinating to have a regime which, in the first 2 years, 75 to 77, behaved towards itself, treated itself as illegal? The regime was nameless. It was called ANKKA, organization, not Communist Party of Korea, organization. Leaders were nameless. If you asked, who is my leader, your head was chopped off immediately with, and so on. So, you know what I mean? Like, okay, next point about Chomsky. The consequence of this attitude of his, empirical and so on, and that's my basic difference with him. And precisely Colin Robinson and some other people talking with him recently confirmed this to me. His idea is, today, the cynicism of those in power is so open that we don't need any critique of ideology where you read symptomatically between the lines. Everything is cynically, openly admitted. We just have to bring out the facts to the people, like this and this companies profited in Iraq and so on and so on. Here I violently disagree. First, more than ever today, our daily life is ideology. How can you doubt ideology where recently, I think, Paul Krugman published a relatively good text where he demonstrated how all this idea of austerity, this is not even good bourgeois economic theory. This is a kind of a primordial, common sense, magical thinking when you confront a crisis. Oh, we must have done something wrong, we spent too much, so let's economize, and so on and so on. And my second point, cynicists are those who are most prone to fall into illusions. Cynicists are not people who see things the way they really are and so on. Think about 2008 and ongoing financial crisis. It was not cooked up by some crazy welfare state social democrats who were spending too much. The crisis exploded because of activity of those utter cynicists who precisely thought, screw human rights, screw dignity, all that matters, and so on and so on. So, so it's this problem of is telling the facts enough? I claim emphatically more than ever no today. As to popularity, I get a little bit annoyed with this idea that we with our cheap sophisms are really hegemonic in humanities. Are people crazy? I mean, we are always marginal. You know what is for me real academic hegemony? It's brutal. Who can get academic posts? Who can get grants, foundations, and so on? We are totally marginalized here. I mean, look at my position, but you are a megastar in the United States. Well, I would like to be, because I like power to brutally use it. But I'm far from that. I react so anxiously to this because a couple of days ago, I got a letter from a friend in the United States for whom I wrote a letter of recommendation, and he told me I didn't get the job, not in spite of your letter, but because of your letter. He had a spy in the committee, and this spy told him, you almost got it, but then somebody says, oh, if Zizek recommends him, it must be something terribly wrong with him. So I claim that all this, how popular we are, it's really a mask of what? Of, remember, the large majority of academia are these gray, either cognitivists or historians of you don't see them, but they are the power. They are the power. On the other hand, why are then they in power worried? Because, don't exaggerate this pseudo-leftist paranoiac idea of we can all be recuperated and so on and so on. No, I still quite naively believe in the efficiency of theoretical thinking. It's not as simple to recuperate everything we do. There are different strategies how to contain us. I must say that I maybe am not innocent in this, because people like to say about me, oh, go to listen to him, he is amusing clown, blah, blah, blah. This is another way to say don't take it seriously. But this is one of the strategies. There are so many strategies to counteract, and the proof that we are not so impotent as innocent is how, did you notice how against you now and against me, this old line of, these are crazy, half clownish marginals, imperceptibly is more and more combined with the opposite line. We are dangerous. We advocate violence. We are preparing a new Holocaust or whatever. This is deeply symptomatic. This mixture of we are powerless, innocent clowns to these guys are really dangerous, preparing a new terror and so on. Of course, my heart is with the second position, but that's another story. Thank you. Sorry, one very short. Laura. No, very short. Yeah. I would like so much. I'm so sad that we don't have time today, because I'm dying to ask you a couple of questions with a great pleasure that today will not have time to answer. Like, what about other melodramas? Nazi, White Harlan, Opfergang. What about communist melodramas? Stalinist, like, did you see Die Legende von Paul und Paula? The most popular East German film.
Where you have the most